Hey friends, this is Wendy with Love and Stampin'. I'm excited that you're here with me today. We are going to be using some Trinity Stamps products. We're using the Very Cute Layered Mug Die set, and I'm going to tell you more about that. And then we're also using this really cute slimline. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's linked in the bio below, in the description box below, sorry. And look at this. Look how cute this is. It's so cute. So, we are going to make a couple of different cards today using that fun pop-up mechanism, but I also have a trick to show you in the Misti that is really awesome. Really quick, I wanted to show you how I cut apart these dies. I use a microfiber cloth underneath, and then when I need to cut off a little bitty piece, I fold the microfiber cloth over the top to catch the little piece so it doesn't fly all over the place. So that's how I trap my microfiber, just so you know. This piece of cardstock is cut at 7 by 8.5. We scored it at 3.5, and then we're burnishing the edge to make a slimline card that finishes at 3.5 by 8.5. And then I've got a layer of cardstock here that is cut at 3.25 by 8.25. And I want to stamp this image, or the image over the top of the long piece. So we're going to pull that off. Here's all the mug pieces that I cut. I needed to have 4 mug fronts, 2 mugs, and then the pieces for them. So to decorate them. So we'll get into all of that here in the video. But what I wanted to show, I'm taking a photo. What I wanted to show you with the Misti is how to stamp something that is kind of large, I guess. Oh, well, I lied. I guess I'm going to fold these. I don't know why I did it in this order. Anyway, so 2 of your layer pieces for your mug will be folded in half, okay? So I'm going to fold those both in half. I think I'm going to make the mechanism here first. Sorry, I recorded this video a while ago. You can tell by the fingernails, okay? So I'm going to burnish the edges of both of those, and I'm going to glue them to one of the layer pieces of the mug. This is going to create the first piece of our pop-up. Now you notice here I'm folding so that the fold is to the center of the layer mug, not to the outside. So we're folding it so that it's to the center. One of the key pieces that you need when you make one of these types of cards is to have something that is got symmetry, that is asymmetrical. Good Lord, I can talk, I promise. So for example, you couldn't cut 2 of the mugs because then you would have the handle only on one side. So that's why we're using the layer piece that goes on the front of the mug to create the pop-up mechanism. So there's that. Then you're going to use a piece of scrap cardstock. Doesn't really matter what it is. I like to cut it at about 1/2 inch. And if you had a really big piece you were popping up, you might want to make it a little thicker. And basically you're going to score at 1. I cut this way too short. I'm not sure what I was thinking. So I'm scoring it at 1/2 inch. See, I realized immediately. Well, what did you do that for? So you're going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inches from each side, leaving yourself kind of a bar in the center to have to mount your decorative piece onto. So here I just flipped it around and I'm scoring it 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and then 1.5. I'm actually going to cut because you basically are going to end up with 3 little sections at each end, okay? So when I fold this, you'll see it here in a second, you're going to fold peak, valley, peak. So we have peak, valley, peak, and it should look like this. So it's almost like a little spring that you have created that's going to hold whatever your decorative element is, and then it'll pop up when the person takes the card out of the envelope. I learned this technique from Jennifer McGuire, the Queen. of card making. She, I don't know if you know this, but Jennifer McGuire was an engineer in her past life. So she comes up with a lot of cool stuff that just helps the card making community. So anyway, that's where I got that idea. Okay, here in my Misti, I want to show you this trick. Now, if I wanted to stamp this, I'm showing you the problem first. If I wanted to stamp this, I really wouldn't be able to, right? Because I want to stamp the entire panel. Thus, you need a sticky mat. So we're going to pop this in place, put the sticky mat on top. The magnet will go on the sticky mat, not the cardstock. Because if I put the magnet on the cardstock, I cannot fully stamp the cardstock. Do you see what I'm saying here? You'll see when I close it. The stamp itself is this almost exact size of this piece of cardstock. So I cannot place that magnet on top of the cardstock. This is why having sticky mats is super, super helpful. So it's holding my piece of cardstock in place while I pull this big, beautiful coffee covered stamp off. And then look, it goes perfectly over the top. And now I can stamp this entire panel one time to have a really nice cohesive look without having to finagle or figure out how else to stamp it. Now, you'll see here, it's a brand new stamp, so it actually lifts up my piece of cardstock. So I just put it back down, take my bone folder, hold the cardstock in place, and then I just have to kind of adjust it just a smidge, just to make sure it's in the right spot. And then I'll close the door again, just to make sure everything's still good to go. Yep, it is. And then we're going to stamp. Now, before we stamp, I want to share how I came up with my color combo. This is my secret weapon trick. I go to Pinterest, people, and I typed in fall vibe, and this was one of the color combos that came up. And I really loved it. And I thought, oh, it has some good browns, so that'll be great for my bear, which you'll see in the second card. And so these are all the colors I pulled from Concord and Ninth. Rainforest, Evergreen, Nutmeg, Spice Cider, Pebble, and then I couldn't decide if I wanted to add cayenne or substitute cayenne for Spice Cider, but these are the inks that I chose to use to create a really fun fall vibe for this card. And we make two, as I said earlier, so you'll see here. So first I'm going to stamp in Pebble and for my first card, and I'm going to do some ink blending over the top of this because it just was a little bit too pale for me to put really dark jewel tones on top of, and I wanted to bring in more of that pebble color. So we stamp it first, and then we're going to ink blend over the top of this. What that does is it does two things. One, it colors my cardstock. It makes it less stark white, and two, the other thing it does is it kind of pushes back or mutes the pattern, because then it's not so much contrast of like stark white against the pebble, if that makes sense. Here, I'm going to stamp another panel in Nutmeg. I wasn't 100% sure at this point which way I was going to go with what cards, and I wanted to have a couple of options. And in fact, we end up not even using this as a slimline panel, and you'll see later in the video how we use this on a regular A2 size card. So I'm inking it up again, stamping it again, but you can see here, I really love Concord and Ninth inks. They stamp beautifully. They have a smoothing agent in them. So when you stamp them down, if they look a little like, I don't know, I guess the word would be maybe muddy, at first, they won't. They'll settle into the cardstock beautifully. So just know that when you use their inks, that it's going to take a second. I almost have all my Concord and Ninth inks. I'm missing 6. So that's on my list of things to get. So here you can see I went around the outside edge of that panel. Here I'm inking, I think this is Rainforest, and then I'm doing the front piece in Rainforest. And then I've got Nutmeg and pebble for the top two because we're putting 2 mugs. So that's the little coffee that's going to go in the top. Here I am using evergreen. Aren't these beautiful colors? They're just beautiful tones. And so these go great together. And how do we know that? We know that because we found it on Pinterest. Yes, we did. So color combinations is something that I struggled with for many, many years. Really quick here. I'm using the little heart from Trinity Stamps circle shaped card dies because I needed some sort of decorative element on these mugs. And so I went ahead and inked these up with that spice cider, cayenne, the evergreen, and the rainforest. Then I am going to do some heat embossing to decorate the mugs. So, and I'm stamping in honeybee white. I have found I absolutely love that as an option. So FYI on that. Okay. We're going to use my precision glue press to add these. I love using liquid glue for something like this because you still might need to move it around a little, which I did need to do with this one. So liquid glue just gives you a little bit of time to do that. So you glue your little panel piece down first, then you add glue to your little tabby pieces, and then you're just going to glue this entire piece to the pop-up mechanism, and you have your pop-up element for your card. So you'll see it again too in the next card. I do exactly the same thing, but if you need more instruction on this, my recommendation would be to slow the video down or pause it if it's going too fast. The problem with these videos is they're like an hour and a half long. And I have to try to edit them down to something manageable for you to watch because I know you don't have all day. So, here's our pop-up element. Okay, so now we're going to assemble the card. Back to talking about color. Color theory is something that I really struggled with when I first started stamping. I wasn't always confident in what colors went together, what would look good together, and it took me some time to learn how to put colors together. The first thing I would recommend if you have this problem is getting a color wheel and maybe even taking a class on simple color theory. They have there's all kinds of people that do videos and stuff for card making. So here, let's go back to the card really quick. For this, I ink blended first in spice cider and then I ink blended over the top in nutmeg. And I cannot tell you how much I love the color that this came out. This mug is my favorite, and we're going to decorate it with all the bare bits and pieces. We use some black soot for the nose and the eyes, but other than that, we're sticking with pebble for the face and inside the ears and nutmeg. I tried really hard to stick to the colors that I showed you in the beginning for both cards. So, understanding what is an analogous color, what is a complementary color, that will help you so much in your card making journey. And it will help you make more beautiful cards, if I'm being honest. If you understand how to put color together, you're set. Then I would say the next thing would be understanding and learning composition. Now, when it comes to composition, I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. I'm good at that. I have an eye for composition. I always have. It comes naturally to me because it just does. I don't know why. Some things come natural to us, some things don't. I did photography for many years, like portrait style photography, and I just had kind of an eye for that. And so I've never really struggled with composition. However, when I took photography classes many years ago, they taught us the importance of it and how it works. So if you're interested in a video on composition for card making, drop a comment below and let me know because I could definitely do something like that. Anyway, as far as colors go, so my first recommendation is if you struggle with color, get a color wheel. They're really inexpensive. You can buy them on Amazon and they are extremely handy. It's not necessarily a card making product. It's like an artist product. I mean, we're kind of artists, aren't we? And then The second recommendation I have for you if you struggle with color is Pinterest. Pinterest is, I have a whole Pinterest inspiration board. In fact, I'll link it below, that is titled Color Inspiration. And that board has been a lifesaver for me many times when I'm either stuck in a rut, I'm not sure what to do, what colors to pick, or, you know, maybe I'm doing a scene. Like, let's say I'm making a scene card. And this is where I usually get the most stumped. If I'm making like a scene card and the girl in the scene is wearing like a hat and a jacket, and then the boy standing next to her in the scene is wearing a hat and a jacket, and they both have on pants, I'm always like, okay, I know what colors to do for my background, but now what colors are going to look good on their clothing to make this card pop and still look good? Side note, as I'm watching this video and seeing my nails nice and flat at the top, I gotta say, I'm going back. I'm going back, people. If you've seen my last few videos, you know I tried the almond shape. I just can't do it. Maybe if I had acrylic nails, I could, because they would be like longer, but I just don't like it. I look at how pretty my nails are in this video. Nice and flat and square. I can't help it. I'm a 90s girl. Okay, so I was trying to figure out how to put the whipped cream on top, but it just covered up his ears. Here, I got a little smudgy on that pebble, and I'm trying to clean it off or cover it up with some more pebble ink, but that didn't really work, so I just decided to leave it the heck alone. Sometimes you just have a little flub and you gotta leave it alone. Okay, let's talk about this. We're gonna cut these down to panels that are, I don't know the measurement. You know what though? I have the card right here and I have a ruler sitting next to me. How serendipitous. That was not planned. So let's measure it while I'm talking to you. Sorry about the little bit of noise here in the background. So these panels I cut down to 3 3/4 by, wait for it, 2.5. And then I cut a piece of dark cardstock at 5 1/4 by 4. And then I layered these two panels on to have this fun background behind my mug. And I really love this card. I added those other two hearts at the bottom. And then this card's also going to pop up and have that fun pop-up element. I didn't add a sentiment to this card. And the reason being is, oh, see, my nails are different now. This is what happens, kids. I start videos and then halfway through, this is great though, because you're getting a side-by-side comparison. Do we like them better flat? I think we do. So anyway, this is how I ended up using this panel. I cut it down and layered it onto this A2 card front because I really didn't like the way it was coming together with the bare mug. I was going to have to cut more mugs and I was just out of time, to be totally honest. So I thought this was really cute and gives us some interest to the background and it's just fun. I also left a sentiment off, like I said a minute ago, because I thought, you know what, this could be used for anything. It could be a birthday card, it could be a thank you card, it could be a miss you card, let's get together and have a cuppa card. You know, it could fill a lot of holes, right? And so ultimately I decided to go ahead and leave a sentiment off. Let's walk through this mechanism one more time. We glued the two pieces, like I showed you before, onto the base. Then we're gonna add the little pop-up mechanism. Now see how much shorter this one is? Just because I used a scrap and it wasn't as long, it's okay, it still works. So it does, I will tell you, it does tilt to one side just a tiny bit. So maybe I should have done a little bit broader flat piece for it to attach to, but in the end, you know, it's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add this down, glue it down, and then I'm going to glue it to the pop-up mechanism, and then that whole piece is going to get glued to the front of the card. Okay, we only have a few minutes left. Rather than talking about the card, I thought I would just maybe give you a little update on life stuff and a little chit chat. We are going to have a fish fry this weekend. It'll probably be, well, it's not going to be our last one. We have family coming to visit in December. I think I've already told you guys that, from Montana. And when they come to visit, we are going to have a fish fry then also. We really want to do a fish fry while they're here. So my husband fishes. He is an avid fisherman and he catches catfish, which, I mean, if we're talking about the world of fish, it's not the best fish in the whole world. As far as health-wise, it's a bottom feeder. But fried catfish is just delicious, okay? So that is what it is. So we host fish fries periodically throughout the year. My husband does all the frying. I do the sides usually. And we have friends that bring sides and stuff like that. So we're doing that. By the time you're watching this, we've already done it. But that's what we've got coming up. And my daughter's horse is sick again. I'm not even joking. We'll cover that in another video. But this is my finished cards. Aren't these cute? I got a little dimensional tape here on the back of this card by accident. So they pop up when they go through you put them in, they're nice and flat. And then when you pull them out, they pop up. This is just brilliant because you don't need a bunch of extra postage to mail them. I didn't add any embellishments. I didn't do anything else crazy kooky for these cards because I think that they're super cute just on their own. I don't feel like they need a bunch of things. I did use a white gel pen on those hearts on the card on the right and in the coffee, but other than that, that's it. Okay, click either one of the videos you see here to watch them. Click the circle with my face in it to subscribe, and give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it and it was helpful for you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again soon, friend. Bye-bye.